Hello, welcome to another episode of Same Text, Different Font.
Hi everyone. Today we are going to be discussing travel, but in a very different way.
Why is it different?
Because we're going to have a little bit of a travel battle. So, for those of you who know us, we love to travel, and my favorite place is London, and Kristen's favorite place is Paris. So we often debate about which is the better city, which one is more fun to go to, and where we would like to go back again. So today we are doing all things London versus Paris.
Be sure to put in the comments your opinion, and if you have gone to these cities, put it in the comments of which one you prefer and why.
So before we get started on that, we went to an event last night, a women's empowerment event in the city. It was really great because when we got there, we got an opportunity to meet women from all different parts of the world, and I was very excited.
I didn't expect that.
I didn't expect it either, and it was great because we had an opportunity to not only meet them, but have conversation with them, and it was really interesting to hear what their perspectives are living in the U.S. In this current climate that we are in. So I really enjoyed the opportunity.
Same, it was very nice. I didn't expect to meet so many international women. A lot of them were from Europe. I would say half the room was international, and they were here for different reasons. Some of them are here for their masters, some of them are doing internships. I think one person was doing just like a year off from the UK.
Oh, a sabbatical.
She was doing a sabbatical.
I need a sabbatical. She asked me if I have an opportunity to take some time off and kind of just travel and see where I want to settle roots down. And I basically told her no. There is no such thing in my line of work as taking a sabbatical and just trying to explore somewhere new. You do that on your own time.
I think if you wanted to do something like a sabbatical, you would have to resign from your position.
Yeah.
And if you decided to come back, you would have to apply the same hospital or another hospital to get another job. But there's no such thing. They're not holding your job for you type of thing.
No way. So with that in mind, we should start our travel battle. So I guess I'll start.
We're going to have to go back and forth.
We're going to have to go back and forth. So I love London for many different reasons. I think that there is so much rich history, architecture, and very many places to go throughout the entire country for anything you want, whether it's city life, country life, and it is very easy to navigate with the tube system. Mind the gap.
All of that is true, but it's the same thing in France. Because there's Paris for the city, and there's so many other places, rural areas in France. I have not gone, I've only been to Paris. I would like to go to the rural countryside, but I have not. But in that aspect, it does lend itself to London in that there's a place for everyone. And you can also take, I don't know if it's called the tube.
I don't think I know. I think it's called the metro.
The metro.
The metro.
You can take the metro.
I will say that in both cities, the subway system, the transportation system is fascinating.
Yes.
Not only is it clean, it is comfortable, it is on time.
Very reliable.
They know what they're doing in other countries. Sure, you have to pay a little bit more to ride the subway, but
The metro.
the tube. But I would easily do that if it meant my safety and my comfort, and also for it being on time.
I agree. If I was in Paris or London, I wouldn't mind spending more money, even if they did that in New York, if the cost was a little bit more expensive, but I knew it was clean and on time, I would definitely pay more. Like in New York, the prices keep raising, but the service is getting worse and worse. So.
Well, let me ask you, did you take the metro in France?
No.
She didn't take the metro in France, so I think I deserve this one.
Did you take the metro in France?
Yes, I did.
And
And that's for me to know and for you to find out the next time you go to Paris.
That means she liked it, but she doesn't want to say it.
No, I mean, absolutely, I liked it because it was clean and it was reliable, and those are the most important things when you're just trying to get from point A to point B. And also, I really appreciate the fact that they do their best to keep it maintained and efficient as possible.
That's the same in London X.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying that you should experience it as well.
I will, but that doesn't mean you win.
Okay, well,
So the next we can talk about is the weather.
the weather.
Yes, because Paris is very dark and gloomy and cloudy, rainy. It's very seasonal affective disorder.
No. I mean, it is a little bit drearier than other places, but
They are known for dreariness.
I don't know if they're known for dreariness.
Yes, they are.
Okay, well, what's so wrong with dreariness? Nothing's wrong with that. You need that to help things grow and bloom, and it really does help you appreciate the really bright and sunny days.
But you can't live there.
If you couldn't live there, they wouldn't have a population right now. People live there. People excel
Yes,
there.
but-
People thrive there. There are plants and fruits and vegetables that grow, so everything is sustainable.
They live there because they grew up there and they haven't left. But
I don't know that the
like in Paris, I went in June and the weather was so beautiful and it had flowers and it was just so nice, and we had picnics every day at the Eiffel Tower. It was
Well,
lovely.
I went to Paris, both Paris and London around September, October, and both places was cold and both places had rain. You went on a very wonderful time where everything is blossoming and it's warm and it's really comfortable and you have so many more options of being outdoors. But I think if you were to go in the fall, you might have a different experience. And by might, I mean you definitely will have a different experience.
You don't know that.
Yeah, it's gonna be cold. And they get just as cold as anywhere else.
Maybe you didn't bring appropriate clothing.
Okay, that might be true. I am not a good packer. But anyway, I think it all depends on what time you go of the year to
Well,
either of
that's
these
everywhere.
places.
That's anywhere you travel.
Well, I'm gonna move on to the food.
Yeah, what does London have?
London has everything.
Fish and chips?
No. So they have everything under the sun.
Shepherd pie?
Well, they have lots more than that. They have excellent Indian food. They have their own Soho, which has all different kinds of food. Indian food is really good there. I've had French food there. Obviously, the English classics, like she just said, fish and chips and mushy peas, which I know doesn't sound good, but it really is something.
And the English breakfast. Ugh.
Okay, the English breakfast might not be your favorite thing, but you have to at least appreciate that there's a wide variety of different cuisines available in London that you may not find in Paris because French people seem to only like French food.
That's not true. That is not true. When I went to Paris, I enjoy French food, so I predominantly ate French food, but there were many other options there. We went to a Thai place, which was actually one of the best Thai restaurants that I've ever had. So they do have those options as well. However, I think people there just eat French food. I think in London, their food of their culture is just not the most appetizing. So that's why they have so many other cuisines that...
That is so low. That is so low. No, they have different types of cuisines because they need to cater to their population.
Yeah, but
Which is extremely diverse. I don't know that the same is necessarily in Paris.
you're saying Paris. We're talking about all of France.
You haven't been to all of France.
You haven't been to all of London.
I've been to more parts of London than I have been to more parts of France, for sure.
Yeah, but you're comparing a city to a country. It's not equivalent.
I'm talking about London. Soho, London has a very diverse population.
Either way, Paris also has a lot of diverse food. We chose to eat a lot of Parisian food because that's what we like. And we love, I went with my mom. And
Yes.
We love,
I was going to say we didn't go together,
No.
so I did not eat a lot of Parisian food.
yes, we had escargot, lots of cheeses, bread, charcuteries, pâtés, beef bourguignon,
It's so hard to say.
croissants, baguettes, all
Did you
kinds
have a
of pastries.
vegetable?
Yes. Oh, one thing
Because
that
it sounds like she doesn't eat any vegetables.
No, I don't know about vegetables, but when you go to Europe and they have flea markets, but they also have these like farmers markets. The fruit in Europe is just so good. I remember, I think both in Paris and London. I know for sure I had strawberries in both, and it was just the best strawberries that I've ever had. It was so fresh, so ripe, sweet. It tasted like what I imagine a strawberry to be. Same thing with the figs. And I love that in Europe they do freshly squeezed orange juice. So they have these machines, and most of the time you can see them in the supermarket, where you get a plastic bottle, and I think it has like 2 different sizes, so you pick whichever size you want and you put it under the machine, almost like a soda fountain, but it's not like that. And on top it's clear and it has oranges that's feeding through, and it just makes the juice out of the oranges. It is the best orange juice you've ever had. And I remember I told her that, and she doesn't even like orange juice.
I love the orange juice
Yes.
there, because it tastes what I think it's supposed to taste
Yes,
like,
it's
and it's not
so-
full of sugar. It has no sugar in it.
Nothing. It's all
It's just
natural.
all natural, straight orange juice. Oh, I wish I had a glass right now, actually.
It's so good. I think, and no one had ever told me about that prior to going. No one said, try the orange juice, because I think it's something that's so,
common there. I
Yeah.
don't think they believe it's something worth noting to other people.
right.
But that was definitely one of the things I enjoyed.
Yes, that was great. I love in Paris. So we all know I'm here for the food, and in Paris I definitely enjoyed the food. Let's make it clear that wine is cheaper than water for sure. I don't think you're allowed legally to drink out in the open.
I was going to mention that one thing I did really like in Paris is that I saw not one single person walking around with a coffee cup. Everyone sits down, they enjoy their coffee, they savor the coffee, they're not rushing anywhere, which I really appreciated. That's something that is so refreshing to see, and we're definitely doing it around here.
That is something that I've noticed all throughout Europe. It's very uncommon to see people walking around with to-go coffee cups. Everyone prefers to sit and have a leisurely coffee, breakfast. And you'll definitely see on the streets of Paris in the morning, everyone that is there, they have the little cafes with the bistro tables out on the sidewalk. Everyone is just drinking their coffee or espresso, and it's so lovely to see. One thing that you also see a lot is people with baguettes, and they just have a baguette and they just bite into this baguette with nothing else on this baguette. It's kind of interesting, but baguettes and pastries are just, it's so cheap over there. Croissants are so cheap. You could get croissants, like the best croissants, for under $1. And I remember the first day that we went, the first like actual breakfast, we had their breakfast, and my breakfast was a croissant, a baguette, and I think like a little pastry with like jam or marmalade and butter. And I was like, wow, this is a lot of carbs. And I don't normally eat that many carbs for breakfast. So we did that for a few days in the beginning. And then where we stayed, there was actually a bakery just down the block. So coming to the end of the trip, we just went down the block and we would go to the bakery. We would get a croissant, which was like under $1, and a coffee or just a hot beverage, and that was our breakfast, which was just so nice and refreshing. But going back to what you said about the coffee cups, not having coffee cups and disposable coffee cups, that's another thing to be said about the culture in America. And don't get me wrong, I love Dunkin' Donuts, but America runs on Dunkin'. In America, everyone's always running on the go. It's not, let's sit, have a leisurely coffee, have a leisurely tea. And that's throughout Europe.
Yeah.
And you see many of the countries, they close in the middle of the day to do siesta or they'll just have like a lot of the shops are closed during lunch, and then you pick back up in the afternoon.
Well, since you brought up the afternoon, there's only one thing you can possibly be doing in the afternoon, which is having afternoon tea.
Dish. The best.
The best where?
Well, we didn't go in Paris. We went to afternoon tea in London, and it was an experience.
Full experience.
We've gone to afternoon tea in New York, in other countries, but in London it was definitely something. But also, make it known that we went to the Four Seasons for afternoon tea, so this is one of the higher ends of afternoon tea.
That's okay. I feel like afternoon tea is however luxurious or how casual you want it to be. And that is definitely not something that Paris has. They don't have that. They don't have, let's say, a dedicated time where everyone sorts of wind down. We did just say that they enjoy their morning coffee and it's a leisurely experience, but it's so exciting to me, which I know may be boring for some people, but the predictability of, hey, let's get together in the afternoon and have these little pastries and desserts and tea and catch up with one another. That's lovely. And the presentation is beautiful.
It really is.
And you get to dress up a little bit.
I do agree. But I think you can have afternoon tea anywhere. You can make it your own and do afternoon tea or afternoon
Sure.
coffee.
Yeah, but it's so much nicer with like the tiers of everything and the little this and the little that. It's really something sweet. And it's a nice tradition
Yeah.
for
it's
families, like mother and daughter, anybody, husband and wife, siblings, it really doesn't matter. It's just nice to have that time, and the ritual and the tradition of it, I think, is really sweet.
Yeah, we do enjoy afternoon tea a lot. Even my mom, which she doesn't drink tea or coffee, but I think she also loves afternoon tea with the tea sandwiches and the pastries.
Yeah, the scones. Yeah.
Yes.
But I will say that for me, I am not really the most stylish person, believe it or not. That's why I wear scrubs to work every single day. I took that pressure out of my life. So when I was in Paris, I felt extremely uncomfortable. Everyone there is gorgeous. They're on the metro. They're like fully decked out in makeup, red lipstick. They look amazing, and you just have to wonder, where are these people going? They're on the metro. I don't think they're going to work. It's
Yes.
in the middle of the day. You should already be at work.
No.
So where is it that you're going? Where is everyone headed?
Okay.
Looking like that.
No, in Paris it's different, and I think people that go to Paris, and I mean it's the fashion capital of the world, so when people go to Paris, they put more effort into the dressing.
Oh yeah, I
and their
definitely
style.
had to put more effort. All of my outfits that I packed had to be vetted beforehand by her and approved, because if it was up to me, I would just wear the things I wear on a regular basis, and I definitely would have probably had to go shopping.
I think any vacation that you go to, you should try to look your best.
No, I remember when we flew to London, I didn't bring any jeans. I packed my suitcase. It was packed to the brim with dresses and skirts and blouses and like formal dress pants, and I didn't have one single pair of jeans. And I remember this on the flight there. Just a little side story.
Yep.
But don't worry, I went to H&M and I got a pair of jeans, and I think I still have that pair of jeans today. It's holding up pretty well.
But yeah, when you're in Paris, also, I don't think they have the traditional working hours that we do here in America, so it's different. That's why you can see people on the metro dressed. And if you watch Emily in Paris, you'll see that her and everyone in the show is always so dressed. And then they take like a 2-hour lunch where they're having champagne, and then they go back to work. So it could be.
You know what I just realized? Paris doesn't have their own sport. London has football.
That's not theirs.
I think it is theirs.
They didn't own it.
Like soccer.
They don't own soccer.
Maybe they don't own it, but they definitely
not
play
theirs.
it. And cricket, which I know they don't own as well. But there's no sports in Paris.
You don't know that.
You
should
also
look that
don't
up.
know that.
I don't know. I know they play sports. I just don't know what sport.
What sports do they play? They
I'm
play no
assuming-
sports. You know why?
No.
Because they're sitting down and having all this coffee and all this champagne and just eating croissants and putting on their red lipstick
No,
and smoking. They smoke a lot over there.
I'm sure I would assume definitely basketball.
What?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I need to do some fact checking now because I'm so curious. What sports are played in Paris? Do they even have a sports team?
Does London have a sports team?
Yeah. Lots of them.
I think Paris plays sport. They have to play sports. They were in the Olympics. They must have done something.
Yeah, but what? Is it like swimming?
I would think everything.
I have no idea. We'll have to come back to this.
I would think everything.
Okay, this will be a follow-up.
Yes.
We need to do some research on that.
What are some other things? Obviously, there's a lot of historical sites in both countries and different travel sites, like historical sites that you can travel to, different experiences. In France, you can definitely go see the south of France and visit wine country. And that's why wine is cheaper than water. And you can sit along the park by the Eiffel Tower, and they actually have people coming around selling wine, which is, I mean, it's not the people from the Eiffel Tower that are selling the wine. It's kind of just like hustlers along the side that are just selling bottles of wine. But it's really cool. And when we went to the park for the picnic and we had our bottle of wine and we didn't have an opener, and I went to someone else and they were so nice and friendly and they loaned us their wine opener. So everyone that we encountered was very nice, very friendly. I love the pastries. There were some days I ate 1 or 2 pastries a day because I love French pastries. Even in New York, I always try to go to French bakeries and get desserts. I love it.
I don't know how you ended up back on dessert.
Because I just love
But where did you feel more safe? I felt more safe in London
Paris.
than I did in Paris. When I went to Paris, first of all, because I went at a different time than you, there wasn't anyone offering to sell any wine near that park. That park was desolate. And it didn't even look like a park anymore. I think they were like digging it up for something. I don't remember what, but it was not the prettiest thing in the world, and I definitely was not able to have any picnics.
So you went at the wrong time. So, what was I gonna say? Oh,
Safety.
also, when we went, the sun set so late in the night, and I remember this distinctly because we flew into Paris. We left here, I think Friday night. We got there Saturday morning, our time, which was also Saturday morning, their time. And we kind of walked around for a little bit, took a nap, went back out, had dinner, and in my mind I'm thinking, okay, it's gonna be an early night. We're gonna watch the sunset at the Eiffel Tower because every hour on the hour, the lights on the Eiffel Tower goes off and it blinks for like 5 minutes, and it's so beautiful. We're sitting there and we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting, and I'm just like falling asleep. The sun didn't set until like 11 p.m. in the night. I swear to God. And I was like, this is unreal. So I think it's just the time of day.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the thing either. One thing that I really enjoyed in Paris was the Louvre. Fell in love with it. I had not even planned to go initially. I was there for, I think, only 3 days, and it just wasn't something that I think I would be able to squeeze into the itinerary. But Kristen told me you have to go, and I'm so glad I went. Not for the Mona Lisa, but just for everything else. Everything was so beautiful. Even the structure itself is gorgeous. And I did a tour with one of the tour guides. He was fantastic. I learned so much from him. They're always such a wealth of knowledge. That's the other thing. I like doing tours when we go to other countries or cities, wherever it may be. I try to organize one sort of historical tour and also a more fun tour, like going to a different city or a food tour, a restaurant tour, something like that. One place we went to and Kristen was beyond upset.
We'll talk about this in another episode because we're going to do another
Travel battle.
But for this one, I did not do the tour of the Louvre. I would say the Mona Lisa is a little bit underwhelming because it's like this small.
I barely even saw it.
It's really small. You cannot get up close. When we went, there was like the red velvet ropes around it,
Oh,
so
yeah.
you couldn't get very close
get
to it.
anywhere near
And you
it.
could barely barely get a picture because everyone is like fighting for a picture.
Yeah, you're gonna get a picture of you, Mona,
And everyone
Taurus 1,
else.
Taurus 2, Taurus, like everyone is gonna be, it's basically like a
Group picture.
a group shot.
Yeah, and no one lets you. Obviously, you want to be kind of civilized about it, so it's like, okay, you go, I'll take your picture, and then we'll swap.
Oh, there was none
No,
of that when I went.
it's not. No, exactly. It's nothing like that. There are so many other pieces of art at the Louvre that should hold the same
value,
level of significance
importance,
as the Mona Lisa.
travel. Oh yeah. I mean, I saw a lot of it, and there's still so much more to see.
Yeah.
But
I think
even
it would
the
take
design
days.
of the building was amazing, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah. When you enter the Louvre, when you first enter, you go down underground.
It's underground.
Which
People don't realize that it's actually underground, and there are multiple tunnels, like passageways, and they all culminate in the center of the pyramid, essentially. And it's just massive. It's beautiful though.
It
I
is.
loved it. It was great.
I did the bus tour, the big bus tour.
I hate those bus tours. They're the worst.
Why?
Because I'm just listening to someone on a recording talk to me about all the sites. Like, go to the sites and talk to them and see it for yourself. The last time I went on one of those bus tours, they made a detour, didn't announce it. I ended up in a completely different place, almost missed my dinner reservation, and it was so boring.
I like to do the bus tour in the beginning of the trip to get the lay of the land and see where all the sites are. With the big bus tour, you can do multiple days. So that's actually what we did. We did the bus tour. We got tickets for 2 days. The first day we got the lay of the land, did the major sites that we wanted to see. And then the second day, we almost used that as our mode of transportation. So we took the bus again and we spent the time, we got off and just spent the time walking around and going to some of the other sites. Some of them we didn't really care to see, but you know, you just want to get a quick picture and walk around in the area. So we did that for the second day.
You should have
On
taken
the
the
bus
metro
tour.
instead of taking the bus.
With the metro, it's a lot, like where we were going, it was a lot of back and forth. So we just decided to use the big bus tour, which I like it. I like that it gives you the lay of the land and it tells you a little bit more of it tells you the basics of the history, of the architecture. And then, for example, for the Louvre, you can book a separate tour to go into the Louvre. You can pass by the Eiffel Tower on the bus, and then the next day or later that day, you can get off and go into the Eiffel Tower. You can do a tour in the Eiffel Tower if you feel like it. But at least I think with the big bus tour, you're able to hit all the major sites and then pick and choose whatever you have time for in your itinerary to go back to those main sites and spend a day or do more.
Well, that applies to London too, because they have that tour as well.
We did see Buckingham Palace. We were there.
We saw changing of the guards.
We saw changing of the guards, which was very interesting and fun. It's very long. It's not just like, okay, cool, you're here. I'm gonna go now.
Yeah, no, it's a whole process, and the amount of people that were there was incredible. I did not expect it. I mean, of course, I know it's really important and exciting to see, and it's a tourist attraction as well, but I did not expect the amount of people that we encountered while there. One thing that I was able to do was I went to see the crown jewels. It really makes you wonder, like, if these jewels exist, why are some countries so poor, kind of thing. Like, here they are just sitting, being looked at, and I don't know, I wish we could take one of the jewels and feed a whole country, basically. But I will say it was very pretty to see. It's very heavily guarded, obviously. They don't let you take any photos, any videos, or anything of that nature when inside. So there's a lot of security involved, which is fine. They gotta protect what they think is.
Another reason why I think you and love London so much is because you guys both watch a lot of period pieces.
Oh,
such
yeah.
as
Downton
The Crown,
Abbey, The Crown,
Bridgerton,
yeah, Belgravia. Oh my gosh, there's so many. And it's really like in one of the, I can't remember which of the shows, but it takes place in Mayfair, London, the really affluent part of London. And even, actually, I went there on the big bus, where they drive through Mayfair, and it is gorgeous. Like, everything you see looks so clean. The apartments or homes or residences or however, the flats are really just so expensive looking. I'm curious to know what the inside looks like. That's why I started kind of watching Selling London, which, I mean, some of these homes are just exquisite.
I think that's why you almost feel like London is more relatable, because you see it on TV, on these shows that you watch, whereas I don't watch any of those shows. So when I go there, I'm a little place.
That's how I feel in Paris. I feel a little out of place. London is just, I feel a little bit more down to earth in how they dress.
It's low key.
Which I think is more my pace. I feel very comfortable there. I think the people there are a little bit more conservative and reserved. They're not as chatty. I don't think they're chatty in Paris either, but one thing we notice is when you're at a restaurant, the servers don't really strike up a conversation with you sometimes the way they do in other places. I think that's just their culture and their tradition to be a little bit more conservative, reserved, hold back a little bit, which is totally fine with me, believe it or not.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah, obviously the shopping, there's the best shopping in Paris, but that's not something I particularly enjoy, so for that reason, I feel neutral on it. It doesn't impact me one way or the other.
Same for me. I know a lot of people that go to Paris want to go to Louis Vuitton and the other like name brand stores, but I don't really. That doesn't really appeal to me. But that is one thing that Paris has for them as well.
I mean, it might be nice to see it.
Yeah, I did go to the Louis Vuitton store.
You did?
And yeah, very nice, but.
We went to Harrods, and Harrods was beautiful. Oh my goodness. Did we go around Christmas time?
No, you went the second time.
The second time I went to London, it was somewhat around Christmas time, and Harrods was just a sight to be seen. The way they decorate, all the beautiful ornaments they have, and holiday items. Really, I wish I could have bought it all and brought it back. I did buy a lot though.
You can order from Harrods online, and they do ship to America.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, I don't have a reel from Paris because I went so many years ago and a reel was not even a thing back then. But I think I have a highlight of London, so I'm gonna try to dig that up and post it on the YouTube.
I can give you some of my pictures. I don't know how a reel works, but I got lots of pictures from Paris.
No.
Okay.
So we'll post that so you can get an idea of some of the stuff that we did while we were there.
But I think at the end of it, the most important thing is to just travel. And if you can, obviously, take a vacation, explore a different part of the world, immerse yourself into a different culture. Try every single thing that you possibly can, and
I don't know, I think it's called the bullet train. So when you're in Europe, you can take the bullet train to go to many other different countries. So you can take the bullet train, London and Paris.
The bullet train is in Japan, but there is a high-speed train that goes from London to Paris in about 2 hours. It's very comfortable. I did take it. I slept from one station to the next. It was super easy. I loved it so much. And that just goes to show, when you're in one place, you can easily be in a nuts country in just 2 hours.
It's the high-speed train.
Yeah. Bullet train is in Japan. Which we haven't gone to, but maybe one day.
So even if you take a week vacation, you can do both. You can, I don't know where the high-speed train goes, but it probably goes to other places in Europe. So look it up and you can do that as well. Let us know.
Let us know, but we'd love to know which place you think is more fun, more vibrant, or
better food,
best to travel to.
Better weather.
I already have the crown. Seems like I won.
No.
Until next time.
Like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram and TikTok and Spotify.